I have returned from a country where death is not a partition to cross through, but a road to follow. The great ancestor of the Bijago archipelago has described for us the itinerary of the dead and how they move from island to island according to a rigorous protocol until they come to the last beach, where they wait for the ship that will take them to the other world. If by accident one should meet them, it is above all imperative not to recognize them. The Bijagos are part of Guinea-Bissau. In an old film clip, Amilcar Cabral waves a gesture of goodbye to the shore. He's right, he'll never see it again. Luis Cabral made the same gesture 15 years later, on the canoe that was bringing us back. Guinea has by that time become a nation, and Luis is its president. All those who remember the war remember him. He's the half-brother of Amilcar, born as he was of mixed Guinean and Cape Verdean blood, and like him a founding member of an unusual party, the PAIGC, which by uniting the two colonized countries in a single movement of struggle wishes to be the forerunner of a federation of the two states. I have listened to the stories of former guerrilla fighters who had fought in conditions so inhuman that they pitied the Portuguese soldiers for having to bear what they themselves suffered. That I heard, and many more things that make one ashamed for having used lightly, even if inadvertently, the word guerrilla to describe a certain breed of filmmaking. A word that at the time was linked to many theoretical debates and also to bloody defeats on the ground. Amilcar Cabral was the only one to lead a victorious guerrilla war, and not only in terms of military conquests. He knew his people, he had studied them for a long time, and he wanted every liberated region to be also the precursor of a different kind of society. The socialist countries send weapons to arm the fighters. The social democracies fill the people's stores. May the extreme left forgive history, but if the guerrillas are like fish in water, it's a bit thanks to Sweden. Amilcar was not afraid of ambiguities. He knew the traps. He wrote, "It's as though we were at the edge of a great river full of waves and storms, with people who are trying to cross it and drown, but they have no other way out. They must get to the other side." And now the scene moves to Casaca, the 17th of February, 1980. But to understand it properly, one must move forward in time. In a year, Luis Cabral, the president, will be in prison, and the weeping man he has just decorated, Major Nino, will have taken power. The party will have split. Guineans and Cape Verdeans, separated one from the other, will be fighting over Amilcar's legacy. We will learn that behind this ceremony of promotions, which in the eyes of visitors perpetuated the brotherhood of the struggle, there lay a pit of post-victory bitterness, and that Nino's tears did not express an ex-warrior's emotion, but the wounded pride of a hero who felt he had not been raised high enough above the others. And beneath each of these faces, a memory, and in place of what we were told had been forged into a collective memory, 1,000 memories of men who parade their personal laceration in the great wound of history. In Portugal, raised up in its turn by the breaking wave of Bissau, Miguel Torga, who had struggled all his life against the dictatorship, wrote, "Every protagonist represents only himself. In place of a change in the social setting, he seeks simply in the revolutionary act the sublimation of his own image." That's the way the breakers recede, and so predictably that one has to believe in a kind of amnesia of the future that history distributes through mercy or calculation to those whom it recruits. Amilcar murdered by members of his own party. The liberated areas fallen under the yoke of bloody, petty tyrants, liquidated in their turn by a central power to whose stability everyone paid homage until the military coup. That's how history advances, plugging its memory as one plugs one's ears. Luis, exiled to Cuba, Nino, discovering in his turn plots woven against him, can be cited reciprocally to appear before the bar of history. She doesn't care, she understands nothing. She has only one friend. The one Brando spoke of in Apocalypse, horror. That has a name and a face. I'm writing you all this from another world, a world of appearances. In a way, the two worlds communicate with each other. Memory is to one what history is to the other, an impossibility. Legends are born out of the need to decipher the undecipherable. Memories must make do with their delirium, with their drift. A moment stopped would burn like a frame of film blocked before the furnace of the projector. Madness protects, as fever does. I envy Hayao in his zone. He plays with the signs of his memory. He pins them down, decorates them like insects that would have flown beyond time, and which he could contemplate from a point outside of time, the only eternity we have left. I look at his machines. I think of a world where each memory could create its own legend. He wrote me that only one film had been capable of portraying impossible memory, insane memory, Alfred Hitchcock's Vertigo. In the spiral of the titles, he saw time covering a field ever wider as it moved away, a cyclone whose present moment contains motionless the eye.